Recording in progress.
Okay, everybody, hello. We're going to get started. Today is Monday, May 20th, 2024, for our Gary Sanitary District meeting. Will everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next, we'll move on to roll call to establish attendance.
Commissioner William Allen.
Present.
Commissioner Ola Morris.
Present.
Commissioner Maurice Mabon.
Present.
Commissioner Darnell Lyles.
Present.
Commissioner William Cook.
Present.
Attorney Jewel Harris Jr.
Present.
Interim Director of Administration Brenda Scott Henry. Finance Manager Jerome Foster.
Present.
And we also have present with us today Mayor Eddie Melton. And that's the end of roll call.
We have a quorum, sorry. So moving on to certification, we will, pursuant to Indiana law, section 5-14-1.5-6.1, I certify that prior to the start of today's meeting, there was an executive session held, and there was nothing discussed during the session that was not indicated on the posted notice. That being said, it being in compliance with Indiana statutes, there were no final votes held during the session. Do any members dissent? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on. We'd like to acknowledge our mayor, Eddie Melton. Would like to provide a few words.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you to all the commissioners. I just want to take this brief opportunity just to say a few words and offer a few thoughts as well. Number one, just want to thank you for your service to the community in this capacity. Myself and City Controller Salita Green is here as well, just to kind of share that more collaborative effort between the city itself as well as GSD. Just a few things. I'm definitely proud of the work and honored to work with interim directors with Brenda Scott Henry as well as Cola. And want to thank them for their service in the interim time space as we look to how we move forward into the future. And I'm sure this leadership of this board is going to make sure the right leadership is in place as we go into the future. Some of the things that has occurred over the last, I would say, quarter of the year, being engaged with President Allen and various members of the body, with the regulators, the conversations. I know the attorney as well of the board has been part of those conversations and several members of the city administration. I know there's a lot of work to get done in terms of working with our regulators to ensure that we are in compliance and trying to address our combined sewer overflow issues. I do see some window of opportunities for the city and GSD to collaborate to address those issues. Some things I will just share as a quick highlight. Myself and Chief of Staff Ellis Dumas, we've been working extremely close, as well as Mr. Allen, with Congressman Mervan's office, as well as U.S. Senator Todd Young. Senator Todd Young's office actually reached out to encourage us to apply for some of the earmarked dollars for several issues throughout the entire city. So we have made some requests of some of the projects that you all have historically wanted to address. So we have made a request for some of those federal resources from an infrastructure standpoint to get done. So again, everybody that works for GSD, I wanted to just commend all of the staff, those out in the field, those in the front office, just to keep up the good work. I'm excited about what we're going to get ready to do in the future. I'm excited about the office space, making it more convenient and available for those that's trying to have public access to pay their utility bills. That's something that we wanted to encourage GSD to move forward on, because we at City Hall, we're getting a lot of inquiries and ask about individuals that want to have that availability and that option. So excited about the newsletter. that Representative Hatcher and Rachel Caesar has been working on as well, just to kind of keep the public informed of the progress of GSD, and just want to make myself continuously available for this body to work with as we move forward. So I'll take any questions, Chairman. I know we kind of broke protocol with the board agenda, but appreciate the opportunity to be a part of the executive session and continue the conversation. So that concludes my remarks.
Yeah, I mean, we appreciate your kind words and leadership.
Thank you.
Do we have any questions? Well, we don't.
Come on, no. Attorney Lyles, you got a question?
I asked them all in the back.
Yeah, that's good. No, that's good. I appreciate again everybody's support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so moving on, we have some submittals that have been received. Oh, I'm sorry. Are there any additional submittals that have been not given to us at this time? For the long-term control plan? Okay, seeing none. All right, if none, it's closed.
All right, we will open the submissions regarding the long-term control plan. And I'll start with the first one.
Well, we're just looking for qualifications.
Correct. Yep. I'm just unsealing. These are not bids, so the process for this is a little bit different. I'm not reading off any numbers. These are just responses to our request for qualifications. So I'll read for the record who submitted them. I'll unseal them, and then they'll get referred to staff for further review and recommendation to the board. The first is received from Butler Fairman in Seufert, located at 8488 Georgia Street in Maryville, Indiana. Deadly weapon.
I know, I was not expecting.
All right, the second proposal submitted by Lockmuller Group, located at 112 West Jefferson Boulevard, Suite 500 in South Bend, Indiana. Third submission submitted by Commonwealth Engineers, Inc., located at 19 North Court Street, Crown Point, Indiana. Next submission was submitted by Limno Tech, located at 501 Avis Drive in Ann Arbor, Michigan. The next proposal was submitted by Shrewsbury and Associates, located at 504 Broadway, Suite number 202 in Gary, Indiana. And the last submission is received from Burns McDonnell, located at 200 West Adams, Suite 2700 in Chicago, Illinois. Mr. President, I would recommend that these be referred to staff for further review and recommendation to the board.
Is there a motion for acceptance?
So move, Mr. Chair.
Is there a second?
I second it, Mr. Chair.
Motion's been made and properly second. Roll call?
Commissioner Cook,
Yes.
Commissioner Lyles,
Yes.
Commissioner Maybon,
Yes.
Commissioner Morris,
Yes.
Commissioner Allen.
Yes.
The vote is 5 ayes, 0 noes.
5 ayes and 0 noes. Motion is passed to accept the RFQs. Next, we have the rescindment of requests for proposals. Vicky.
Commissioners, we have, after reviewing the industrial electrical RFP, we realized that there was some language in the RFP that was issued back in April 6 that that didn't make it available for everyone to compete competitively. So we are asking to revise this information. This is the request based from our, that comes from our compliance department. So they've asked that we revise the industrial electrical RFP so that, and then put the document back out on this, to the public to respond to.
If I could piggyback on those comments too, I think the other issue, I also reviewed that solicitation, and it, upon further review, it also doesn't reflect the way in which the leadership wants to operate engineering and engineering services. So for that reason, I think it needs to be recrafted and reissued. And that'd be my recommendation.
Okay, so the recommendation is to rescind the request that went out originally so that a new one goes out that reflects, I guess, what we're trying to do moving forward.
Correct.
Question.
Yep.
How do, if it's going out, what's the mechanism for rescinding them?
It would be,
How's that done?
it'd be by vote of the board now.
No.
Notification.
Did they already go out? That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, it went out. The notice went out on April 6th.
So then what's the mechanism to rescind it?
So following your vote, then leadership would then send out to all those who had previously submitted proposals, would send out notice to them, letting them know what action the board took today. Once the solicitation is redrafted, they would receive that again. They would still be provided the opportunity to submit proposals. It would just be based upon revised criteria.
So as
Public
of right
notice
now,
to-
we have no proposals based on the original.
Is that what you're saying? That's a question.
We do. We had 2 proposals that were submitted last board meeting. That was May 6th. And we asked the board to extend the timeline to receive those proposals. However, after information was brought to our attention about the details of that RFP, we thought it would be best to ask the board to rescind it and then reissue a RFP. But Cole, if you have some additional information you want to share, please.
Yeah, the information I'd like to share is that the RFP for the industrial electrical does not really reflect how we want to move forward, with the operations of the plant. The goal is, as needed, we request for quotes, and then to also utilize to the maximum the staff we have on hand. So I do not think the RFP is necessary anymore.
Okay.
So that brings me to another question. If we already have 2 proposals to the RFP, do we keep those? Or does the other person rebid? Do we have to rescind those that we received and say rebid based on the new, whatever? How we do it?
Those proposals would just end up being void. If another RFP is advertised, for example, right, it'll end up being apples and oranges because the criteria will all have changed. So the proposal that's already been submitted is not going to speak to the newly recrafted solicitation that ends up hitting the streets. So those would then, they wouldn't be rejected, but they'd be returned so that they can go through this process again.
And for the record, we never opened them or
Right.
Yeah, I
accepted
know
them.
we never opened.
Yeah.
Okay.
But, okay, well, they just got to bid again.
Right, that's exactly right.
Okay. Thank you, Cole.
Just had one question on that. We're talking about the Sweeney, that previous contract? Is that what we're referring to?
Well, there's not a contract we're referring to, it's just the services.
Yes,
Sir,
we
Yeah,
didn't
so-
have a contract.
Okay.
was no contract.
So we couldn't hire,
No contracts.
so we couldn't hire 2 people as electricians? Did we reach out to try and hire electricians?
We do have a job description for electricians, but that's 2 different levels. So we are not saying that we don't need professional electricians to come in and work on our behalf on larger jobs, especially on the 27th and Chase project. But definitely, when there's an opportunity, we want to put that request out there for electricians so that we can see who can give us a better price for the services that we are asking for. Under the old contract, it was really just a little construed in terms of, price set for services that were being delivered, doing work that wasn't, we didn't have a contract, so it was not in the best interest of the GSD to continue to operate in that fashion, I would say.
Okay. After hearing the overview and the recommendation regarding rescinding the request for proposals for industrial electrical contractors, what is the pleasure of the board?
Move for passage.
Is there a second?
You'll second that?
Motion's been made and properly second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Cook,
Yes.
Commissioner Lyles,
Yes.
Commissioner Maybon,
Yes.
Commissioner Morris,
Yes.
Commissioner Allen.
Yes.
The vote is 5 ayes, 0 noes.
With 5 ayes and 0 noes, motion is passed for rescinding the request for proposals for industrial electrical contractors. Moving on, we have the minutes. What are the pleasure of the minutes?
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to accept the executive session and regular meeting minutes of May 6, 2024.
Is there a second?
Second, Mr. Chair.
Motion's been made and properly second to approve the minutes. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Cook,
Yes.
Commissioner Lyles,
Yes.
Commissioner Maybon,
Yes.
Commissioner Morris,
Yes.
Commissioner Allen.
Yes.
The vote is 5 ayes, 0 noes.
With 5 ayes and 0 noes, motion approving the minutes have passed. Moving on to new business, we have 2.1. Mr. Foster?
Thank you. Make a motion to approve and ratify GSD payroll earnings for period ending April 8th, 2024 through April 21st, 2024 in the amount of $255,321.06.
Do we have any comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, what's the pleasure of the board?
We'll second that, Mr. Chair.
Motion's been made and properly second for 2.1. Roll call?
Commissioner Cook,
Yes.
Commissioner Lyles,
Yes.
Commissioner Maybon,
Yes.
Commissioner Morris,
Yes.
Commissioner Allen.
Yes.
The vote is 5 ayes, 0 noes.
With 5 ayes and 0 noes, motion to approve payroll has passed. Moving on to 2.2.
We have a motion to approve an agreement by and between the Gary Sanitary District and the town of Ogden Dune for beach water quality testing for offshore waters of Ogden Dune for the year 2024. I would ask Bob Theodora to come up and give an overview, but this is a service that we provide not only in the city of Gary, but also to Ogden Dune, and it's a grant that we received in order to do this service, so Bob will give you the details.
Is there anything you would like to add?
We get into a contract to test and report analytical results of the beach water sampling of the Ogden Dune site. That is going to be for the swimming season from Memorial Day to Labor Day.
And we do this every year, every other year?
Every year.
Every year, okay. Do we have any other comments or questions? Okay, hearing none, what is the pleasure of the board for 2.2?
Move for passage.
Second, Mr. Chair.
Motion's been made and properly second. Roll call?
Commissioner Cook,
Yes.
Commissioner Lyles,
Yes.
Commissioner Maybon,
Yes.
Commissioner Morris,
Yes.
Commissioner Allen.
Yes.
The vote is 5 ayes, 0 noes.
With 5 ayes and 0 noes, 2.2 has passed. Moving on to 2.3.
We have a motion to approve and award a bid to Refax Inc. for fabrication of sections of the primary settling tank in an amount not to exceed $202,845. I would ask Kola Watsaka to come up and give an overview. Additional comments?
I would like to give you a brief background to this project proposal. You will recall last board meeting that Adam was on ground for 2 days for inspection. This project is one of the areas that Adam saw as a violation and they cited us on for. Having said that, this is an ongoing project, and it's being done in-house, materials and labor. This material we needed is, we need to fabricate the materials so that to be able to continue with the work. Part of it has been done, we just need to complete it, so it's just like a continuation of an ongoing project.
And I just want to add that this is the non-compliance didn't just happen currently, it's something that's been going on. The sanitary district has been cited on it before. This presents an opportunity for us to address the issue and become compliant.
Do we have any comments or questions from the board?
Cola, I have a quick question. I'm trying to find the contract thing, but they excluded, I think, bolts or something like that. You know what I mean? They excluded something from their bid, and I was wondering, is that customary or, and if it is, what is that additional cost to us? It says, so they're gonna do 15 of those troughs, and it says anchor bolts are not included. What's that mean, Cole?
Yeah, the boats are actually necessary, but those are, I told you, it's been done in-house. So what we needed from the fabricator, from the fabricator is just, this is the material, just fabricate it for us.
So we put the bolts on.
Yes, we put the boats on.
Thank you, Cole.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, hearing none, what is the pleasure of the board for 2.3?
Move for passage.
Is there a second?
I'll second it, Mr. Chair.
Motion's been made and properly second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Cook,
Yes.
Commissioner Lyles,
Yes.
Commissioner Maybon,
Yes.
Commissioner Morris,
Yes.
Commissioner Allen.
Yes.
The vote is 5 ayes, 0 noes.
With 5 ayes and 0 noes, 2.3 has passed. Moving on to claims, 3.1, Mr. Foster.
Thank you. Recommend a motion to approve and ratify GSD claim numbers 1372 through 1480 in the amount of $674,075.93.
Do we have any comments or questions? Hearing none, what is the pleasure of the board for 3.1 for claims?
Move for passage.
Is there a second?
I'll second it, Mr. Chair.
Motion's been made and properly second for claims. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Cook,
Yes.
Commissioner Lyles,
Yes.
Commissioner Maybon,
Yes.
Commissioner Morris,
Yes.
Commissioner Allen.
Yes.
The vote is 5 ayes, 0 noes.
For 5 ayes and 0 noes, claims have been approved. 3.1.
Just kind of want to piggyback on something when it comes to claims. I was looking at Shrewsbury where they were doing GIS updates for us. Isn't the GIS updates or something we can do in-house in the future?
Kola will come up and respond to you.
Okay. Not only that.
Our primary goal is to do GIS in-house. In the interim, Shrewsbury is just standing in until we have staff in-house, to continue doing it for us.
So we're going to potentially do GIS in-house.
That is good.
Okay.
Any other?
So a brief question, Mr. Chairman. Colin, before Shrewsbury, it was in-house, right?
It was in-house. It was being done by Metric. Martin was doing it. Then when Martin left, then I took it upon my department took it over. Then the engineer left. Then we were looking for an engineering outfit that could do it. Shrewsbury was able to stand in the gap until we get somebody in-house to do it.
So would you recommend to the board that we bring it back in-house or still leave it on a contractual basis?
Until we find somebody capable, then I can't recommend now because there's nobody in-house to do it.
So our current contract with Shrewsbury, at least with regard to this, is it a year contract? Does anybody know?
We entered into contract with them at the beginning of this year. So
Yeah, we have a master service agreement with them. We have a master service agreement with Shrewsbury to do the GIS, but we will look into doing that work in-house at the right time.
So
We
let
need to
me
look
ask
at the
this.
contract first.
When we take that assignment from them, do we have to wait till the contract terminates or the service agreement terminates?
Yeah, we need to look into that first. We'll make a recommendation to you, but let us look at that first. Okay.
Thanks, Cole. Okay, so that was for 3.1. We'll be moving on to 3.2. We have GSD financial report.
I didn't think so. Mr. President, we just usually provide the GSD financial report as a matter of record. It's not required to have a vote on it.
Oh, we don't need, okay.
Yes.
The 3.2 GSD financial report.
Well, I didn't hear your response.
I just said that the financial report is a matter of record. It is not necessary to have a vote on it. Maybe until the end of the year, once it's complete, it's unaudited. So,
Just look at it in your board pack.
yes, just review it
Okay.
for your
Information
record.
for
Thank
right
you.
now.
Okay. Because in the future, we're going to ask Mr. Foster how we're tracking on that financial report.
Third quarter.
Reason why I provide the cash flow, sir.
Oh. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so it's just for information purposes for now. Moving on to information updates, we have a plant operation.
We received the ADEM inspection report for the inspection that was done end of April 30, and then beginning of this month, May 1st. The report cited us for some violations. Thank you both for approving the fabrication of the troughs, because the troughs was one of the citations or the violations. We are currently addressing the other violations and trying to correct them so that we can be in compliance. And we submitted our monthly report of operation to ADEM. Currently, we're working on primary tank number 10. to rehabilitate it and they put it back in service. It's one of the violations of the item. And then we hope to get it done and completed in-house. We currently have managers meetings and weekly meetings. We continue with it. And then the meetings is letting us know issues that every department is having, and then resolving them as we go along. We also have technical committee meetings, which is also weekly, where we discuss issues going on in the plant, and they brainstorm on making sure that the plant is operating effectively as it should, and being compliant with our MPDs. In order to optimize the operations of the plant, I put in place check and balance of ensuring performance metrics that we monitor our deliverables in terms of measuring our improvements as to tasks that we have at hand, and when we start the task and then when the task is completed. And I think that's what I have for now. I'll be happy to take your questions.
Do we have any comments or questions?
I just had a question. You mentioned violations, correct?
Yes.
How many violations are we currently responding to?
I think we have like 6 violations dating back to 2023. And then I'm taking some are simultaneously, the primary tanks. We also have violations regarding the digesters. So I'm trying to have one of the digesters back online. And the lab is correcting the areas that they were started on. Also, it's in SOA department. So it's working on its own areas. The areas that concern the SOA department is during the time we were hacked, we lost all data, and they expect us to have information dating back 3 years. Unfortunately, we couldn't provide those 3 years, but we're trying to get as much data as possible and then make a report back to IDEM.
So we're responding to 6 violations?
Yeah.
Okay.
Cole, can I ask a question? I know a little while ago, we had people in the plant working 100 overtime hours. Did we get new employees so they don't have to work so much overtime? Or is that still the same situation?
No, we are vigorously addressing issues of staffing. Yeah, we hire actually 2 people to operations department. One showed up, the other one didn't show up for drug test. So we rescinded the
Offer.
yeah. So now I'm just interviewing more people.
So how
to
many
take care
do
of
we
that.
need to get where we should be in the plant? How many do we?
I cannot give you the number up from here, but I know we need 2 in operations. We have the one there now. I brought in an electrician. In the sewer department, maybe Lamingo can weigh in on that one. I don't know the number, but Mingo has been interviewing people as we speak. So, but we're trying to fill up all the openings as we speak.
Okay, so we get this report about openings. Is everything on there that we need? That we get?
Yes, it's in
Okay.
the report. The HR report is included in it. It's up to date in terms of who we hired.
No, I know where it says who we need.
Oh, yeah,
First
that one
page.
is.
Is that for the plant? Because I can tell if they go to the plant or
That
whatever.
includes key.
Yeah.
We need to bring him.
So we have the department, the positions, and how many vacancies are in there.
I called it.
Reach out to him and let him know that
So
we discussed it.
you said we had 2 in the
We
sewer
need to hire him.
department?
ASAP.
No, that's for operations.
I'm not really seeing what you're talking about.
We can do that. We can tell them to come in.
Yeah, she's already,
Peter, you want to come over here?
we've already made that decision.
All right.
And it's interesting because we were.
Hello. So right now, we just hired one operator. The person started this weekend. We have one operator position that's open as far as in operations. For the sewer department, we have 3 collection tech positions that's open, that's vacant. We filled one position, I believe, a month ago, a couple of weeks ago, in that department. Lift station, we just hired one person. That person started 2 weeks ago. We have one position open in that department.
Okay, so really what I want to know is, are we fully staffed in the plant? And if we're not, how many employees do we need to be fully staffed so people don't work 100 hours overtime in a week?
Okay, so no, we're not fully staffed, and we need, for the plant itself, we need one operator, one more operator.
And that's it?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
in operations. So then the other employees won't work overtime, that much overtime.
Any other comments or questions? Okay, thank you. Next, we have construction activities.
Good afternoon, Board. I'm going to provide a quick update on the construction projects. First on the list is the Grid Improvements Project. The Army Corps of Engineers is still in negotiations with the First Street contractors to close out that project. The equipment is up and running, so we're just waiting for that negotiations to be finalized. The 27th Chase Forest Main Replacement Project, I believe the parts are coming in later this week. Grimmer Construction is going to be mobilizing June 3rd. And I'm going to start construction on this project. They will be closing the intersection of 25th and Chase to install that new force main. The 27th Chase Street bar screen replacement project, the west bar screen is installed. The mechanical portion is installed. They had a poor electrical pad, so the new control panel is being installed, I believe, today on the new pad, and the wiring should be completed this week, and hopefully we can get that bar screen up and running and testing. It has to go through a 7-day testing period before I actually commission it. And once that's done, they will start on the east bar screen. And for the last project, I have the Lake Street Drainage Improvements Project. There's the contractors still doing what they can. They have limited access to the site with the Miller Woods, Douglas Center pedestrian bridge being built, and also the bridge over the lagoons. So they're having a hard time working in that area, but they're doing what they can on some of what they're from 3rd Street to Hemlock. And that's all I have for now.
Just had a question on Passion. So from last meeting to this meeting, they've completed 50% of the work over on 27th and Chase?
That seems about right.
Because they didn't have any invoices last meeting.
Right, yeah, this is the first invoice. Invoice number 1 was for $670,000.
Okay.
I believe.
So between Passion and Grimmer, I think Grimmer's also working over there. When do you think that total job is going to be completed?
Well, Grimmer's, this is for the force main. This is phase 2 of the force main. There's still phase 3.
Okay.
And that's not out to bid yet. So your question was when they're going to be finished?
So the piping's going to be, that's up there on 25th and Chase.
Yes.
That piping's going to be there at least till winter.
No, that should be in the ground by August.
By August, all that pipe will be moved.
In the ground, installed.
And then they're going to repurpose the land? They're going to clean it up?
Oh, yes. Oh, site restoration is required.
Okay.
Equal or better.
Okay.
Any other comments or questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, it looks like that concludes information updates. Next, we have discussion. Are there any items or topics that any of the members would like to discuss?
I just had a question for Mrs. Hatcher, and you don't have to come up if you don't want to, but you spoke about the penalties in the past, and I just wanted a little bit of clarity on that. That would be at the end of the project, or during the project, or how would you assess that?
Well, I think the way that we have been assessing the people who work on the project is always through their pay stubs and their pay sheets that the contractor is required to send us on a periodic basis. And that's what we use to determine the address of the people who are there. There is some physical monitoring. You might go out to the site and make sure that those persons that are listed are persons that are actually on the job and working the job. And so as we do that throughout the process, we're able to make a determination. So it could possibly, if they have 4 draws for the project, it could come out of the first draw as a percentage. Because it's a percentage of the overall project, it definitely makes it easier to monitor the amount that's taken out. So it could be per draw, or it could be the final payment.
Okay. And the penalty, if in fact we assess penalties, what are we going to earmark that money for? Training or?
Yeah, so the plan and the proposal is to put those penalties and fees in a dedicated account that would be used for some kind of training or education for people who live in the community who either want to come on board here at GSD or who are looking for some other kind of training.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you.
Any other topics of discussion? Okay, hearing none, moving on. Are there any requests to speak?
Yes, we have one, Bob Day of Days Asphalt. Excuse me, Mr. Day, just a reminder that you have a 3-minute span of time to speak.
Okay.
All right.
3 minutes to be, should be plenty. I was awarded a contract last year to crack seal the roadways and the parking lots out here. And I got started on that. I worked about a week, and then I was told to shut down, and we'd pick it back up springtime. So springtime came. I tried to get started, finish, I was told. The time had expired. We're not going to do it. So I have a copy of my notice to proceed here. And long story short, I just want to finish the job. It's a very small amount left on the contract, like $23,000. I just want to finish the job and move on. I don't want to fight with nobody. You know, you guys have already awarded me this last year. So that's why I'm here, to see if that can be made possible.
I wasn't familiar with us shutting down the job. I was familiar with the fact that at one point, I think you had gone beyond. For example, I think you started to do crack seal beyond the gate.
Right. I went from the guard gate to 4th Avenue.
Yeah, but see, that wasn't a part of the.
That was not part of it, so I didn't bill you for that.
Okay. See, that's the only thing I'm familiar with. I wasn't familiar with it.
See, when I did it before, that was part of the specs.
Okay.
So when I did it this time, I found out that that was not part of the specs this time, so I couldn't bill you for that.
Okay. So, attorney, you familiar with?
Well, I guess first, thank you for bringing the information to our attention. Some members, weren't a part, on the board, I guess, when the work had started. So I don't know if there's anybody who can speak to this, but if we can just take this information and then consult with staff so that we can get some clarity on this.
Well, a contract is a contract. If he's saying he has a contract, we have to comply with the covenants in the contract. That's how I look at it. I don't know if staff needs to be involved, maybe the lawyer, to read his contract.
I personally thought the work was done. Because we had discussions about beyond the gate. Remember that? The additional money? So I didn't know anything about the work that was within the plan. You know? Were you, Mr. Lyles? Were you?
Say what now?
Was you aware of stoppage of the work within the plan?
No. I mean, a contract is a contract. Did your contract terminate already, or what?
No, it didn't terminate. I was told to stop, so I stopped the work. See, after 37 years of being in business here in Gary, I've never started a job and didn't finish it. Never. So, you know, I was told.
Who told you to stop, and when was that?
I was told to stop 1 week after I had started, and Eric told me to stop.
When was that? I'm trying to block it
That had to be October. I started October 4th. I was given the notice to proceed. So
And then you
I worked about a
30
week.
days. They wanted to stop because of winter or fall.
Well, they wanted to stop because the extra work that had been done that I did not bill for. So that was the excuse. So since I didn't bill you for that work, I just want to finish the rest of the job, the rest of the contract.
Well, it's kind of hard for me to realize how you come in that road every day, and if you think you striping the wrong cracks, why somebody didn't say something to you right away? You know, I don't get that part, but that's water under the bridge.
Yeah.
And so you called here and said, I'm ready to restart the project?
Right.
Who did you talk to?
And then I talked to Kohler, and he said that the time has exceeded, and we're not going to do it.
Oh, okay.
I think you should hear from Kohler.
The man says he has a notice to proceed. I don't know, so if we hear from Kohler, what? Okay, Kohler, let's see what you got to say. This guy's the only guy that is in the paving business that I know of that's a minority.
Yeah, a contract is a contract. He was given the job in October. According to the notice to proceed that he is mentioning now, the job ought to have been completed in November last year. And last month, I sent a letter to him to explain why he did not complete the job, number one. Secondly, that the contract had already lapsed, and why he thinks he should continue with the job without asking for a change order in time or whatever else. And then he responded, and then, like, we are asking for a new bid. And I wrote back that we're not asking for bid. All I'm asking you to do is provide an explanation why you didn't complete the job, and if you are still interested, why you did not ask for change order for increase in time. And then he's here now, so I don't really know what's going on.
So let me ask you a question, Cole. His contract was just for 60 days, then it terminated?
In the letter, second letter I sent to him, I said that if he doesn't respond to this letter, he should consider the contract terminated. It's in the letter.
You're not answering the question I asked. The contract he has is for 60 days, and it started in October, and you expected him to be done in November. Is that what his contract says?
According to the notice to proceed, I'm not making anything up by myself. Notice to proceed clearly stated November, job should have been completed. And I just sent him a letter in April this year.
Somebody's not right.
How much was it, how much of that contract was completed?
$16,000 was completed of the contract. There's about $23,000 left on the contract, and the $16,000 was done in 2 days. So the balance to finish the job would have been done in another 2 days. If I had not been stopped, I'd have been through with that.
Okay, he stated Eric stopped
And
him.
this is simple as him saying,
Hold on,
finish
hold
the
on,
job.
hold on. Eric, can you come forward? You say you stopped the job, because I'm not aware of that.
I wish I had the documents in front of me. The project budget amount was exceeding the not to exceed amount,
Right.
which is why the original project was held up. And I would have to go further look at documents and become more familiarized with it, but that was my understanding.
Handled in-house attorney as opposed to.
They're open in public, yeah.
Did you stop the work? That's the question they're asking. At any time.
Okay.
Attorney, can you jump in, please?
Yes, so it sounds like there's a lot that's going on, a lot of moving parts. I'm not familiar with all of it, but I'm familiar with some of it. If we could stay after the meeting, I'd be more than happy to kind of hear this out, do some homework, and then make a recommendation back to the board.
Did you,
Thank you.
did you contract for these supplies for crack sealing?
Yes.
They're going to handle it in-house.
No, I'm asking Mr. Day a question. So you did contract for the required,
Yeah, you have to call it and get that material in advance, yes.
okay.
Thank you. Are there any other requests to speak?
No, sir.
I hope the price ain't going up on you.
Is there a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I second it, Mr. Chair.
Meeting adjourned. Yeah, everybody. Again, today is Monday, May 20th, 2024. This is the Gary Stormwater Management District meeting. Roll call, please.
Director William Allen.
Present.
Director Ola Morris. Director Maurice Mabon.
Present?
Director Darnell Lyles.
Present.
Director William Cook.
Present.
Attorney Jewel Harris Jr.
Present?
Interim Director of Administration Brenda Scott Henry. Here. Finance Manager Jerome Foster.
Present.
And that's the end of roll call.
Okay, we have a quorum. There is no certification since there were no stormwater items that were related to the executive session. So moving on to minutes. What is the pleasure of the minutes?
Mr. Chair, Mr. President, I make a motion to accept the regular meeting minutes of May 6, 2024.
Is there a second?
I second it, Mr. Chair.
Motion's been made and properly second. For the minutes, roll call, please.
Director Cook.
Yes.
Director Lyles.
Yes.
Director Mabon.
Yes.
Director Morris.
Yes.
Director Allen.
Yes.
The vote is 5 ayes, 0 noes.
With 5 ayes and 0 noes, the minutes have passed. Moving on to 2.1, under new business. Mr. Foster?
Thank you. Recommend a motion to approve and ratify GSWMD payroll earnings for period ending April 8th, 2024 through April 21st, 2024, in the amount of $5,259 even.
Okay, we heard the overview and the recommendation. Are there any comments or questions? Hearing none, what is the pleasure of the board for 2.1 for payroll?
So move for acceptance, Mr. Chair.
Is there a second? Motion's been made and properly second for 2.1. Roll call, please.
Director Cook.
Yes.
Director Lyles. Director Mabon.
Yes.
Director Morris.
Yes.
Director Allen.
Yes.
The vote is 5 ayes, 0 noes.
With 5 ayes and 0 noes, payroll has been approved. Moving on to 2.2.
We have a motion to approve change order number 1 to Grimmer Construction for the Lake Street Drainage Improvement and Roadway Reconstruction Project, Phase 2. Gary Stormwater Management District Project Number WS22-02 for an increased amount not to exceed $139,329.24. I'm going to ask Chris Murphy, Kola Owasaka to come up and give an overview, and Mr. Tucker. will give an overview.
This project is a Lake Street improvements project. It's an upper fund. I discussed this issue of a change order with Jerome Foster. And if I guess this right, I mean, this change order is not going to be like increase in the budget. This increase is still within the budget of the project. And we are still also looking into areas in the project where we can cut down on cost as the project goes along. The summary of it all is that there is an obstruction in the way of the project. It is an unforeseen obstruction under the ground. And to get this project to continue to move forward, we need to take care of this obstruction. And then the cost of removing this hindrance is this change order amount. Tucker, Timothy, you have anything to add to it?
Excuse me. Yep, John Tucker, American Structure Point. Sure. As Cola mentioned, the hindrances were concrete pavement, and then just the unforeseen conditions of some of the underground utilities out there as well, and to move the project forward, because we already had some utility delays throughout the project. So just keep things moving forward, we had to make some changes, work around what was in the ground. So, but most of it was, as you mentioned, was not known until we uncovered it. If there's any further questions, I guess without getting too detailed.
This is going to be subsidized by the Harper?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, so.
So it has no effect on the stormwater budget?
Correct, it's still within the funding budget. We're over the contract budget, but we are working on means of reducing that throughout. We have some undistributed items that we still have out there that we don't foresee utilizing. However, as you know, we're not even at 50% yet with all the other adjacent projects that we have ongoing around us. It's kind of slowing it this year. So definitely means, I believe there's means to reduce that number down as we get through the project.
What was that location? Was that at a specific location on the street?
The concrete pavement was from 3rd to Hemlock. It was majority of the way, but it wasn't underneath the full section of the roadway. Okay. So it was as they removed the asphalt itself, then it uncovered the concrete that was installed in years past when the road was widened. Okay. We didn't know that. We have investigated further. American Water has done work north of Juniper. There is no concrete up there. That was found. The only spot we need to just verify would be between Hemlock and Forest. They did do a crossing there, so it doesn't look like it is, but we don't have a good representation of the area to say there isn't any concrete yet.
Okay.
I do have a question. Making sure I'm hearing you correctly. You're stating that there was a reduction in costs currently to the contract? Is it already out there currently, or is it something you're projecting to be out there later?
It is projection, not currently.
Okay. So in theory, right now, we are increasing the
Contract?
the contract.
Yes, sir.
But it falls within the budget.
Well, we're still within the budget.
Understood.
Okay.
So there's no date changes, correct?
No, sir, not this time.
Okay.
They're still working to get everything done this year.
Okay.
Do you think that we've, I guess, covered the extent of possibilities of coming across additional concrete underneath the pavement?
I think the only spot that is still with a little uncertainty was between Hemlock and Forest. American Water did, they had a crossing there, that they didn't have any concrete, but it wasn't, I wouldn't say it's representative of the area yet to know for sure.
Okay.
They did do their work north of Juniper all the way to our north project, half the road, and they did not encounter concrete there, so I would safe to say that we shouldn't have anything north of Juniper. So we have a small section still that is still, needs to be investigated.
Okay. What was your question?
Can they do coring in advance?
Question's been asked about coring.
So Grimmer is remobilizing out there. They're out there doing the retaining wall. They will be redoing, grading the roadway out later this week, and as they move forward, that's been a discussion already with Grimmer, is where American Water already cut across to dig through there and do some
Discovery.
exploratory ourselves. So we've talked about that with the contractor to stay ahead of that.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I do have one more question. The current cost of the contract is what?
6,088 and change. 6,088,726 and 23 cents.
So therefore, this right here is increasing that number. It will be increasing it, and so you fall within the threshold of what we requested.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's why I want to make sure that's clear to the board.
Do we have any other comments or questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so after hearing the overview and the recommendation for 2.2, which is a change order with the increased amount not to exceed $139,329.24. What is the pleasure of the board?
So move, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Motion's been made and properly second. Roll call, please.
Director Cook,
Yes.
Director Lyles.
Yes.
Director Maybon.
Yes.
Director Morris.
Yes.
Director Allen.
Yes.
The vote is 5 ayes, 0 noes.
5 ayes and 0 noes. Motion has been made and approved for 2.2. Moving on to 2.3.
We have a recommendation for a motion to approve and award a bid to Area Plumbing and Sewer for storm sewer system installation at the vicinity of 47th and Vermont in an amount not to exceed $68,850. I will ask Cola to give an additional overview of this project, and you will find in your board packet that we had a complaint about this area at the last meeting we discussed, and then you can see the photos of how stormwater is standing in this intersection, and we've come up with a solution for managing the stormwater.
Yeah, I think sometimes in, was it April or March? There was a district meeting at IUN, District 6 specifically, and the residents of this area, 47th place and Vermont, came and really complained bitterly about whenever it rains, they couldn't use their, the whole area is flooded. And the mayor said I should look into it. Okay, they said it's been going on for decades. And so I looked into it, and I found that the water we don't have enough capacity to move the water in the area. So what we did now is just to propose another route to take the water out, which means that we take it directly from the road, and then we discharging it directly into the nearby ditch by the school. I don't know, I've forgotten the name of the school in the area.
Bailey? Bailey?
Yeah, Bailey School has a big ditch there. So that's where we're discharging it into. And at the same time, I think this will also help us in reducing SSOs and CSO, because currently the water is going through our combined sewer. So we are taking everything out of the combined sewer and then running it separately as a storm system. So during the project, we significantly, first of all, reduce or eliminate the flooding almost permanently, and secondly, it's in the interest of the residents, because this is what we're out here for, to ensure that we address citizens' complaints and see how we can solve their problems. This is one of the solutions to one of the complaints we have.
Okay. Do we have any comments or questions? Okay, so hearing none. You know what? Okay. I didn't know if you just wanted to talk about, I guess, what's going in. So we have catch basins and piping.
Yeah, we have catch basins. I think we're introducing 4 catch basins and almost over 300 linear foot of piping through the wooded areas to get to the ditch.
Okay, if there's no more further questions or comments, what is the pleasure of the board?
So move, Mr. Chair.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and properly second for 2.3. Roll call?
Director Cook,
Yes.
Director Lyles,
Yes.
Director Maybon,
Yes.
Director Morris,
Yes.
Director Allen.
Yes.
The vote is 5 ayes with 0 noes.
With 5 ayes and 0 noes, the motion to approve and award the bid for area plumbing and sewers for a not to exceed amount of $68,850 has been approved. Moving on to claims, 3.1, Mr. Foster.
Thank you. Recommend a motion to approve and ratify GSW MD claim numbers 63 through 66 in the amount of $4,483.87.
After hearing the overview and recommendation, are there any comments or questions from the board in regards to claims? Hearing none, what is the pleasure of the board?
Move for passage.
We'll second it, Mr. Chair.
Motion has been made and properly second. Roll call, please.
Director Cook,
Yes.
Director Lyles,
Yes.
Director Maybon,
Yes.
Director Morris,
Yes.
Director Allen.
Yes.
The vote is 5 ayes, 0 noes.
With 5 ayes and 0 noes, claims have been approved. Next, we have information updates. MS4 updates.
Okay, you will find in your packet today a copy of the ordinance. I think I mentioned this, the stormwater ordinance. These are updates to our NEPADES permit required by the state under the Clean Water Act. We are hopeful to have an overview of this stormwater ordinance that will highlight the changes that we've made in the ordinance. So in June, we hope to have a community meeting here, probably after the board meeting, so that you can hear the details of everything that we've done in terms of making the changes and bringing the current ordinance compliant with the Clean Water Act. That's what I was trying to say. And then I also want to just, if that's okay, then we will definitely.
Just a quick question. When does that go to the council?
We're not sending it to the council yet.
After
but
the public hearing?
we want to have a community meeting so I can explain to everyone here what the changes are first. So I want the board to be fully informed. And then after that, then we will have comments back from you guys on the public as well. So I'm thinking June, maybe not the first meeting, but maybe the second meeting in June, that we have that community meeting following board meeting or during board meeting. So we are preparing a fact sheet to make it easy for you to follow along with what those changes are. And it's, in addition to that, we spent a significant amount of time, as I mentioned at the last meeting, on the enforcement portion of the ordinance, which is, the guidance that, the strength that we'll need in order to make sure that people are compliant, the source points of polluters are compliant with what we need to get done in the city. So for example, we have lots of retention ponds throughout the city where, people are using to manage their stormwater. However, there's nothing in place for us to ensure that the maintenance is, these retention ponds are maintained over the years. So one of the recommendations that we found out about during the MS4 conference was that we need to have some type of an agreement with the developer to ensure that they follow the guidelines of their post-construction, the post-construction plan, and maintain those facilities so that they can continue to function, to manage their stormwater as it was designed to function. So that's one example of what we have going on. And the other one is, we have a constant problem with developers coming into the city and not putting any type of stormwater BMPs in place or filing an application to do stormwater BMP. So we're really trying to address that on the city side. So a lot of the information we have will be also codified into the zoning code so that we can easily enforce those requirements. So that's just a couple examples of what's included in the stormwater ordinance.
So that retention pond maintenance, will that be prospective or retroactive when it's passed?
So it has to be retroactive because if the pond is not functioning properly, then there's flooding happening with that system. If it's overgrown with weeds, sediment has filled it up, so there's no more depression to hold the stormwater. It's just like regular surface water, and when the runoff occurs, then it's just going to run off into the street, and that's not the intent of that stormwater BMP. Not only that, under the illicit discharge portion of the ordinance, we can use that as a means to ensure that facilities that are in developments that are already in place, stores, truck stops, all of those, that they have to install something to manage their stormwater. The idea is it should not be going into the combined sewer, which is illegal for sanitary district. On the stormwater side, every property owner is required to manage their own stormwater on their properties, within the boundaries of their property. So those are some of the, it's getting a little bit more stringent with the stormwater program, but that's what's required. And EPA is really serious about us not allowing stormwater runoff to run into the combined sewer first and then reducing pollution of the stormwater that we have in place so it doesn't discharge into our water bodies.
Do we have any other comments or questions? Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Anything additional?
Oh, yeah, I just want to make an announcement about the Household Hazardous Waste Collection Day. Most of you have a flyer with you, so our Household Hazardous Waste Collection Day and Environmental Stewardship Day is scheduled for June 1st from 9 to 2 p.m. at 455 Massachusetts Street in the parking lots. We will have environmental informational booth, e-recycling, tire waste, recycling bins available, paper shredding, gas can exchange, and more. We will also have a rain barrel sale that day, so we have people who are pre-ordering their rain barrels, and then we'll distribute them on June 1st. That's all I have.
Okay. Thank you. Next, we have American Structure Point.
Good afternoon, Director. John Tucker, American Structure Point. A couple of our road projects, drainage, Lake Street. That work has resumed. Grimmer's concentrating with the work that's underneath the railroad bridge at 3rd Avenue. That coordination had to be done with the railroad. They have to have people observing it, even though we're under the railroad. It's still their right of way, so we got to work with all their restrictions. But that's all been graded, prep for sidewalk. Concrete should be slated for tomorrow to start work there. They're also working on the retaining wall at Birch, where they'll, digging out for the retaining wall at Birch Avenue. And then that crew will be moving further north to finish the roadway grading between Cypress and Hemlock for the next potential 2 weeks out there. We are still working with Grimmer on a revised schedule, just trying to get the different adjacent projects noted in there. Of note, the air show coming up, I know we talked a few weeks ago. So that has been identified, noted to them to see where we can move. The PED Bridge, the latest update we had on that from a past email was July 4th is what they're anticipating for completion. What that does for us right now, we have work at 3rd Avenue that we cannot be shut down yet because of access for the PED Bridge when they bring in, set their PED Bridge itself. The clearance is different at Grand Boulevard as opposed to Lake Street. There's an additional, we lowered the road a little bit so they have a better clearance. So we can't shut the road down until they can get their work that they need to be done. So we anticipate moving in there, hopefully next get up to Hemlock and then have to phase the rest of the way going north once the bridge is done for the county. And then the timing for the air show. And so still kind of some moving parts, so I don't have the full answers yet, but those have been in discussions lately. Our other project is the US 20 Complete Street. We were down to 4 parcels. We've had some good movement from an update I received this morning. So that seems like those are moving towards settlement. We do have a critical parcel for utilities to get relocated. That was part of the update this morning. It sounds like that was settled and moving forward. So I met with the contractor on Friday just to identify critical areas so they can begin work. We still have utilities to get relocated, majority of it being on the south side. So we'll be working towards trying to get them on the north side so that we can get work happening this year still on the north side while utilities relocate on the south side. So as of right now, they are tentatively scheduled to start some clearing at the pond June 3rd, and then work their way out of, that's north of or south of Lake Street, so the utilities are in effect at that point. That is the 2 updates on the both stormwater projects that we're overseeing. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
I have a question regarding Lake Street. I see where you were up on 3rd Avenue. And there is space where you guys did the sidewalks. Are you also going to put in the bike path going forward, or is someone else going to do that?
We will be doing the bike path in that area. It's on the west side, so that's graded out wider.
Right.
Yes.
And how far down do you intend to go?
The bike path will connect where we left off the previous phase at 3rd, and it will run all the way north to the, to the north limits of the project, which is just south of the guard shack over there for the beach itself.
I guess my question is this: are you guys going to widen that bridge as a result of that bike path extending there? Because the bridge wasn't that wide initially.
No, so I think Ron mentioned this the last time, but my understanding is it'll be wider than it was before, but it definitely won't be the full width of what a sidewalk plus the cycle track would be. But it's still, everything will still flow with like a multi-use path through there and then widen out to have a distinguished cycle track to sidewalk both north and south of the Lagoon Bridge.
Okay. I like what I see when it comes to having redone the concrete rails, guardrails and that kind of thing. Really nice, really nice.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Next, we have Robinson Engineering.
Good afternoon, President Allen and Board. I'm Tom Nagel with Robinson. I'll be stepping in for Ron today. Ron's out of town. We've got 2 projects I want to give an update on. One is the Lake Street Bridge, number 243, and the other one is the 6th Street and Howard project. On the Lake Street Bridge, Phase 1 HMA is in place as well as the bridge rail is poured. 1 guardrail is completed. Traffic was shifted to the east side, and in Phase 2, traffic control will be put in place. Phase 2 demo will begin once the traffic is shifted. On the 6th Street and Howard project, we're just starting it up, but we scheduled a meeting with Cola and Eric to go over the design options to meet the detention requirements. Now, as you probably know, I don't have as much background as Ron has on this, but if you have any questions, I'll be happy to take them and get back to you with an answer.
For the completion date for the bridge, I know Ron had stated that it should be completed either by or before July 4th. Just want to make sure that that's still
President, I'll get an answer for you. That should be in the contract, and I'll get that. So, completion date by July 4th.
Yeah, just to confirm that we're still on track or
Okay.
may beat that timeline.
Okay.
Yeah. Anything else? All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next, we have discussion. Are there any items or any topics that any of the directors would like to bring up?
I have none.
You have none?
I have none.
Okay, since there are none, moving on to request to speak. Are there any?
No, sir.
Okay. Do we have a motion for adjournment?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Motion's been made and second. Meeting adjourned.